Hi, this is Lisa with Pearson, and I'm here to walk you through the Kentucky DAC TestNav training for spring 2026. The online testing components include the Pearson Access Next system, which manages student data and online test sessions. There is a blue secure site and a brown training site. Along with Pearson Access Next, you'll use the system TestNav. It's a student test delivery engine. Technology staff will verify installation of this TestNav app on student testing devices. TestNav has an online support page that includes instructions for setup, troubleshooting steps, technical bulletins, and a recently updated section. The support site includes a TestNav system requirements page. The image below is just for reference. Only see the online site for up-to-date information. Student TestNav tutorials are designed to help students become familiar with navigation, TestNav tools, and item types. Tutorials are located on the Kentucky portal and on the login page of the TestNav application. TestNav application practice tests preview the Zoom functionality. The Try It feature allows students to perform most TestNav functions in the portal tutorial. Students will launch the TestNav app from their testing device. After accessing the TestNav tutorial URL through a web browser, the TestNav screen will appear. Students will select the Start button to begin the tutorial. Students can move the text-to-speech bar from side to side across the top of their screen. The welcome screen introduces the tutorial and lists the 3 parts of the tutorial: moving through the test, using the tools in the test, and working with test questions. As they proceed through the tutorial, they'll see a sign-in page where they can practice typing in a username and password. And they will also see a screen where they can verify their username. After they sign in, their first initial and last name will appear in the top right corner of the window, as shown below. Do not attempt to leave the testing program by closing the window or opening another application, program, or browser. Doing so will end the student's session. After entering the username and password, the student will be asked to read the terms and conditions which state the Kentucky Summative Assessment Student Honor Code. After reading, the student checks the box to agree, and once the box is checked, the blue Continue button will allow you to proceed to the next screen. At the beginning of the test and at each section, the test administrator will give out a seal code so that the student can begin the test or section. After they enter the seal code, they select the Start button. This is a picture of all the different parts of the screen. I want to call your attention to a couple things here. We'll talk about the others later. The blue Back and Next button allows the student to navigate around the test. The gray bar contains the name of the test. It's a good way to verify, and the part of the test the student is actively in. Finally, there's a place there where the student can double check their question number. The Review button allows students to review their answers at any time. When the Review button is selected, it shows all questions within the part of a test. The review list shows the question number as well as the number of questions in the part the students have not yet answered. Bookmark questions will also display here. So if they click the bookmark option, it'll give you a drop down where you can see the book items that have been bookmarked. That button allows students to mark questions to review later. When selected, a blue bookmark ribbon appears next to the questions on the review list. When students reach the end of a part of a test, they will see the end of Part A or Part B screen. The orange and blue sections that we just mentioned will tell the student how many questions have not been answered and how many questions have been bookmarked. Students should answer all questions before they go to the next section. Reading, mathematics, and social studies will have a Part A and a Part B. Students will select the Submit section button to go to the next part. A section exit warning will pop up, and the students will select No to go back and check their work, or Yes to complete the part. If Yes is selected, students cannot come back to the section later. To exit the test before completing it, students will select the button next to their name in the top right corner of the screen and then sign out of test. Students will then select the Save and Return Later button. When students reach the end of the test and are ready to submit the test for scoring, they will select the Submit Final Answers button. They will then select Yes, Submit Final Answers. As a reminder, reading, mathematics, and social studies will have a Part A and a Part B. Using the tools in the test, once in the toolbar, students can select a button to open a tool. To close a tool, students will select the button again or select the pointer tool. Students can use only one tool at a time, and students will see tools only on questions where they are allowed to use them. Students will use the pointer tool to select an answer, drag an answer choice to the correct spot, mark objects, and turn other tools on and off. Students can write notes during the test using the notepad tool. To move the notepad screen, students will select the top of the notepad and drag it. Selecting the notepad button again will close the notepad. If students return to the question later, they can see their notes again by selecting the notepad button. Students may copy and paste from the notepad to their response area. For reading, notes are saved for the whole passage. For other tests, notes are saved with each question. Calculators will be available on some item sets. On the item sets that allow it, either a four-function, a scientific, or a graphing calculator will appear when that tool is selected. To open the calculator, students will select that calculator button. To move the calculator on the screen, students will select the calculator and drag it. Students can select the buttons or use their keyboard to use the calculator. And selecting that calculator button again closes the tool. The tutorial will display the icon of the calculator so that students will be able to interact with a four-function, a scientific, or graphing calculator. Students will not see all the calculators together on an item during the test. On the item sets that allow a protractor, students will select the protractor button. To move the protractor on the screen, students will select the protractor and drag it. They can select and drag the circles at the end of the protractor to rotate it. If you drag the protractor off screen, simply close the tool and open it again. Selecting the protractor button again closes the protractor. On the item sets that allow a ruler, students will select the ruler button. To select the ruler, you move it across the screen. And to select the circles at the end of the ruler to rotate it. Finally, the ruler button can be closed by simply clicking the button. To open the dictionary and thesaurus, students will select the dictionary and thesaurus button. Students can search for a word, and this is only available on on-demand writing tests. Multiple choice and multiple select questions have an answer eliminator tool. Students can use this tool to cross out answer choices they think are incorrect. To highlight words, students can use the highlighter tool. They can click and drag the mouse over the words they want to select to highlight. They can choose the color and the area will be highlighted. Selecting the words again and choosing unhighlight will take away that highlighting. Some tools are selected from the user drop-down menu. These tools include the change the background and foreground color, enable magnifier, show line reader mask, enable answer masking, launch the tutorial, and zoom. The color contrast tool lets the student choose the color of the words and screen. After selecting change the background and foreground color from the user drop-down menu, the color choices will appear. Students will select their choice and select continue. The color setting students select will show until another choice is made. Magnifier tool lets students make part of the screen larger. After selecting Enable Magnifier from the user drop-down menu, students can drag the magnifier over the area they want to make larger. Students will then select Disable Magnifier and enter their answer. Students can also zoom the entire screen, enlarging the text effectively up to 400%. This is a viable alternative to using paper-based large print tests. The zoom tool can be used to make the screen larger. The line reader mask tool helps students focus on one part of a test or reading passage at a time. Students will select Show Line Reader Mask from the user drop-down menu and then drag the line reader mask over the question or reading passage. To close a reader mask, the students will go back to the user drop-down menu and select Hide Line Reader Mask. The answer masking tool lets students choose which answer choices will show on the screen. After selecting Enable Answer Masking from the user drop-down menu, all answers will be masked. To show a masked answer, students will select the eye icon next to the answer choice. The student tutorial will also teach students how to work with features and types of questions that may be on the test. They include features like the scrolling, which students may need to scroll to get to the bottom of a page or a passage, and the equation editor. Item types include multiple choice, multiple select, short answer, extended response, and technology enhanced items. Some reading passages may include words that are not familiar. Some of these words have a dotted line below them, and when you select one of these words, its meaning will be displayed in a glossary definition. Multiple choice questions have a circle next to each answer choice, and there is only one correct answer. Multiple select questions have several answer choices and allow more than one choice to be selected. Multiple select items are represented by a square next to each answer choice. For some questions, students must show their work using an equation editor. They will type their work in the workbox A, using keyboard and math symbols B to the right of the workbox. After the work is shown, the answer is entered in the answer box C. For short answer and extended response questions, the student will type answers into a response box. They will click inside the response box A to begin. Pressing enter twice will start a new paragraph, and do not use the tab key. The toolbar B can be used to make words bold, italic, or underlined, to insert bullets, or to redo undo typing. When answers are longer than the space in the response box, a scroll bar C will automatically appear to navigate the response. Students do not need to use all the space for their answer. The total number of characters allowed appears in the upper right-hand corner, D. For technology-enhanced questions, students will have a variety of ways to answer the questions. These could include drag and drop, number line, inline choice, fill in the blank, line graph, systems of equations, function graph, coordinate plane, hot text, and table grid. The item below is an illustration of a drag and drop item available in the tutorial. The purpose of the Read and Write for TestNav text-to-speech tool is to provide a suite of access tools which can be used by students with disabilities who require testing accommodations on the secured state summative assessment. This information pertains to the text-to-speech reading accommodation function being used in Kentucky assessments. Once installed, this extension creates a toolbar like the image below. Text-to-speech has different features on the toolbar, and they're discussed in the following tables. Those features include the click and hover speech, the play button, and the pause button. The tutorial goes into descriptions about and common usage and special notes for each of those features. There are a stop button and a settings feature as well. Finally, a summary page informs students they have reached the end of the tutorial. It contains additional instructions to select Submit Final Answers to finish the tutorial. We welcome any questions that you may have. The Kentucky Department of Education is available at the phone number and email address provided, as well as Pearson Help Desk. Thanks for joining.